Welcome everybody to another episode of Rewind the Times. Well, hope everybody's having a happy Mother's Day. I know my mother's up in heaven, having a great happy Mother's Day. My mother died. My mother passed away about 13 years ago. Matter of fact, today is her anniversary of the day she passed away. My mother passed away May 13th of 2009. So that's ironic. My mother died on Mother's Day. My mother died 13 years ago on Mother's Day. So this is kind of it's a sad video. But we're not gonna make it fully sad, But just want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. Man, feeling sore and tired. As most people know, I work 6 nights a week. And try to work out every other day, or go 2 days and work out 2 days in a row and take 2 days off. Right now, I've been helping my girlfriend. She's getting her above ground pool. She's trying to get the liner back in, and they didn't have a cover on the pool. So, over the years, the liner ripped about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So the pool got filled with leaves and water, just throughout the years, and man, just trying to help her get ready. Me and her kids and her best friend Jean, and it's been tough. It's been tough. I did it yesterday for about 2.5 hours, and I felt like a 4-hour workout. But I'm gonna go back at it on either Tuesday or Wednesday when I go up to go visit her. But just had me thinking about I've been watching a lot of Back to the Future. I found this really cool app, which a lot of people already know about it. I just found it out. It's called Tubi, Tubi. It's free, and it has a lot of amazing movies from the 80s and the 90s. And most people, everybody knows it, or anyone that watches my channel knows that I love 80s and 90s. I was born in 1980, but God blessed me with a very good memory, and I can remember pretty much anything from 85 on. I just been very fortunate. The good thing about remembering everything with the 80s, but the good thing about having such a good memory is you can remember everything. The bad thing is you remember everything. So like I remember my father's death like it was yesterday. I can remember that the two cops that came to my house when I was only 5 years old and told my mother and me that my father passed away. Well, they actually didn't say that he passed away. They said that my dad was in a very bad accident. And my mother fell to the ground. She was in tears. My father was supposed to come home from work that day. In the afternoon, he never came home. And my Uncle Eddie, who just recently passed away, kept calling. And finally, he left a voice message saying, "Carolyn," that was my mother's name, "I think something's wrong." And as soon as the voice message was over, no more than like 5 minutes after that, the police knocked on the door. Man, so that sucked, man. That sucked. So, like I said, man, wonderful memory, but there's good and bad with it. But I've been watching a lot of Back to the Future on this app. 1, 2, and 3. I love Part 2. Part 2 is my favorite out of the 3 movies. But man, it just got me. I love nostalgia. I love back in the day. I would give anything. I wish a time machine did exist. I'd give anything to go back in time and just relive those moments. Those moments of non-worrying. You didn't know what a worry was. You went to school. You had no bills. You had no work. You just went to school. Your girlfriends. You played with your toys. Just all the toys that came out. All the cartoons. There's like nothing like that on TV no more. There's nothing like that no more. It's everything. First of all, I don't even know if TV exists anymore. I haven't had cable in a decade. I just recently got rid of my satellite dish, and the only reason I had my satellite dish was because I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. So I watch NFL Sunday Ticket, and the only way to watch it is to watch all the games is on NFL Sunday Ticket. So I've had satellite for the last 12 years, 13 years, and I've been just watching all the Saints games on that. So like a Saturday and Sunday. I remember being a kid, being Saturday morning and Sunday, waking up very, very early getting a bowl of cereal, either Pac-Man or C-3POs. Anybody remembers those? Bill and Ted's, the Batman cereal. I love Mr. T's cereal. Had that. I can still taste that. It was such a different corn taste, like a corn crunch taste. Oh man, and like everything was like so. Everything had like a jingle to it. Like all the cereals, like it was like watching a music video. And the toy commercials that came out. You know, you're just sitting there eating your cereal, watching one of your favorite cartoons, whether it be Bugs Bunny, Looney Tunes, whether it be Camp Candy, or Sky Commanders, Mask, Ninja Turtles, Smurfs, Gummy Bears. Man, let's see, what else was there as a kid? Pac-Man, the Snorks, Tiger Shocks, Visionaries, and Humanoids. I love Visionaries, man. Oh god, that was 1987. I was 7 years old. That was an amazing cartoon. And Humanoids, what were they thinking? That was so dark in 1986. I don't know how that was directed towards us. And I remember my mother getting me these figures and going, what the hell is this? Like, they're so ugly and so evil looking. Like, nothing like that is like promoted towards kids anymore. It's not like that anymore. But just eating cereal and watching those cartoons, or Saved by the Bell. I loved Saved by the Bell in the 90s. Saturday mornings was such a big deal to me. You know, like I said, waking up and watching cartoons, Spider-Man or X-Men. I mean, there's just so. Gravedale High was one of my favorite. Ghostbusters, you know, but anyone. You know, I love spooky stuff, so Gravedale High was such a big deal. Watching that growing up. Rick Moranis' Gravedale High. He was a teacher at a school where all the students were like vampires and mummies and Frankenstein. That was it only lasted for one season. I literally came out in '91, and it was just awesome. There is nothing like that, even remotely close to nowadays. There's just nothing. You know, my kids, they're all into apps, and it sucks because my kids will never understand what an 80s or 90s summer's like. School's almost out for them, and they'll never understand what school was like for them at all. I'm sorry, what summer was like for them. Summer was a big deal. That last day of school, if you haven't guessed, this video is just I'm just talking about everything, guys. There's really nothing, there's not going to be one specific thing. I just wanted to come on. I wanted to put the camera on and just wanted to talk. I just felt like I just wanted to come on here and just kind of just talk. So I'm going to kind of bounce around from different things. Just feeling very nostalgic today, you know. What it was is I just was thinking about my mom and thinking about the things that my mom did for me. And probably, you know, your mothers did the same things for you guys when you were young. How, you know, not knowing how big the world really was at 8, 9, 10 years old. How, you know, just waiting for the next WrestleMania to come out was such a big deal. Or the next wrestling show. Or Saturday night's main event. You know, just, you know, you didn't really understand how big the world was as a child, where you just focused on going outside in the backyard and playing with your Mask toys. Or your Ghostbusters with your fearsome Flush. Or your Granny Grantham, or Granny Gruesome. I just miss those times so much. You know, I try explaining it to my kids, and my 8-year-old Colston has an amazing imagination. He definitely has the side of me that still plays with his toys. He loves playing with his wrestling toys. Matter of fact, he has a backpack. We call it the Colston and Daddy backpack. It's filled with Ghostbusters, wrestling toys. It's filled with sorry guys, He-Man, Ninja Turtles. It's filled with a bunch of extra toys that I had throughout the years, and I kind of gave him. And he loves playing with that backpack, and I'll play with him with that backpack. He loves coming in my bedroom and looking at my collection. You know, he knows that one day some of this collection is going to be his. A lot, you know, Colston is out of my two boys, where Jeremy is more of, my oldest is more of the athlete type. Jeremy just got into football. So excited because he's gonna have some games on Sunday. I cannot wait to see my son play. My son was in a really bad accident a couple of years ago, and to be honest with you, I forget about how bad the accident was. My son was playing football with some buddies, and a kid landed on him and landed on his testicles, and one of his testicles wrapped around the other one, and it got swollen so bad that my son had to have emergency surgery, and my son actually lost one of his testicles. Didn't realize how bad the injury was at the time, because, you know, my son, he's the type of kid that he loves rough. You know, Jeremy, my oldest, loves rough sports. But when he got hit, he didn't get up right away, and that's how he knew something was wrong. Because Jeremy usually pops back up, and then fell back down, and then couldn't walk. My son doesn't live with me. He was living with his mom at the time, and, you know, and Jeremy's kind of like, no pain, no pain, no pain, no one of those kids. Yeah, no, I'm okay, no pain. Well, he was in pain, and he got rushed to the hospital, and it didn't matter whether he went 2 days, 2 minutes, he was going into surgery no matter what, and he had one of his testicles taken off. So we weren't sure. Jeremy loves sports, and he wasn't sure. He loves football. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play any type of physical contact sport like that. You know, my son's not the golfer or the tennis. Not insulting anybody that plays those sports, but he's just not into that. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, he likes the physical sports, hockey or football or soccer. But Jeremy, he's been going to his doctor, and his doctor finally said, you know what? As long as you wear a cup, you're okay. Because Jeremy, you know, I remember my 13-year-old. Well, he's 13 now. He wasn't 13 at the time, but I remember him telling me, like, Daddy, like, don't worry, I want to still have kids. I'm like, Jay, you're like 11 years old. Having kids shouldn't be on your mind, you know. But he was like, he has that part of me. I'm a very sensitive man. He has that part of him. My kids each have parts of me, you know what I mean? Like, they definitely have my genes, and but I'm so excited that he gets to play football, and I'm so excited to watch my son play this upcoming year. So. But Colston has like the imagination part of me. He loves collecting toys. He loves coming in my room, like I said, just looking at my toys and seeing what I got. Obviously he's, you know, him being 8 years old, he sees a lot of the modern day stuff, but he really loves the old stuff that I got too. And you know, and the good thing about my old toys is they come in stories, because I've had these toys with me for since I was 8 years old, you know, or 5 years old or 7 years old. You know, I have LJN wrestling figures downstairs where maybe half of them, or maybe a little less than half, are mine from growing up, and you can tell because of just how badly damaged they are. And then some of them, you know, I bought recently. You know what I mean? Well, not recently, but, you know, back when the time that I got them. And Colson just loves looking at them, loves hearing the stories, and he has his favorites. And he's like, you know, Daddy, one day I want this and I want that. He's already picking out my toys that he wants. But you know, he's not gonna get it until Daddy's not around no more. Until Daddy's up in heaven, so he's gonna wait. He's gonna wait. But like, I know my hands are in good. I know my hands are in good. I know my toys are in good hands with him. But like, I try to explain to them what it was like growing up for me, and how things were not as expensive as they are now. You know, matter of fact, yesterday we went to Burger King. After we worked at my girlfriend's pool, we went to Burger King and we worked, and just for like 4 people, it's like $81. It's just, everything is so expensive. It's so hard nowadays just to live. It's just so hard nowadays. Like, everything's just so expensive, and even the toys are so expensive. You know, most of the toys, and I love buying a toy that's in package, and you get it, and it'll have like the Woolworths sticker set, or Toys R Us sticker tab, and how much it was, you know, visionary toy, 50 cents, on sale for 50 cents. You know, marked down from $3 to 50 cents, or Ghostbusters, or any Ninja Turtles, or any of those old toys, the Sky Commanders, any of those toys, and it's like I wish Jeremy remembers Toys R Us a little bit. Toys R Us was like walking in Toys R Us was like this giant big event going there, because it was a toy store, and just I remember, especially over here in Rhode Island, it closed down. Well, I think everywhere's closed down, right? Or most places. I think maybe in Canada there's one open. But I heard they're supposed to be coming back, which would be great, because like we need that stuff. Most people do ordering online, which and I'm guilty of that too. I do it too. But I do miss walking into a toy store and just being in awe and amazement of just looking around and seeing everything, and going into the figure section, and then you have the plush animals, the Nerf gun section, the Lego section, the wrestling section. Just miss all that stuff, man. It's like what happened, man? Why did it have to go? I miss it. I miss it so much, and as you get older, you just it gets me so emotional, because it's just it's like it goes by so fast. Like you just one day you're 10 years old, the next day you're 13, and next thing you know you're working full time. And I hope everyone that watches my channel, all my subscribers, and I hope you guys never let that child wonder, ever. I hope you never lose it. I even though I'm gonna be 43 years old this year, I'm still a big kid, man. I still have that wonder-like child, that child wonder-like inside of me. I still get excited when a toy comes in the mail, or I love setting my toy up, even though I don't play with them. But I do set them up, and I get so excited when they come in. I hope none of you guys ever lose that, because it's like the world is just a rough place as it is. You just get up every day, you go to work, and you pay your bills, and everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling to some sort of degree. Maybe what I'm not struggling in over here, you're struggling in, and maybe what you're not struggling in, I'm struggling in. But everybody has their struggles, and it's like you didn't know that as a kid. You didn't know what that was like at all. I remember, school was the biggest struggle for me. And I liked school. I had really good grades. I played high school sports, so I had coaches that really cared. I played hockey. I played football. So my coaches were C's. You had to have C's or higher to play. But my coaches were like, nah, no C students on my team. I had to have B's and higher. And I remember there's this one teacher. I hate to even say his name because he got in trouble. Terrible trouble as I got older. But his name was Shane. I'll leave it at that. And Shane was he was my hockey coach. Well, one of my hockey coaches. And man, he got me up every day, because I was the goalie. I was the starting goalie. And he's like, you get your ass to practice because you're the starting goalie. And make sure your grades. Joseph Trotter was my coach, and I remember he used to have me go around to my teachers, and I couldn't have C's. I had to have B's and higher. So I had pretty good grades in school. You know what I mean? I wasn't some whiz or anything, but I had pretty good grades. And school was a struggle for me. School was like my job, was my struggle, just like for most of you people. But when that last day of summer came, man, I couldn't fucking wait, man. So excited. Remember the next day, just being able to sleep in a little bit and not know that I had to be at a bus stop or I had to be at school at 7:15. And it's so funny because those times I hated them. I just wanted to get through them. But now it's like I'd do anything to go back to them. It's funny how life is, because now I get up and my purpose in life is different. I get up and I work 6 nights, and I'm exhausted sometimes, and I try to stay in shape and work out, which is hard. Try to eat healthy, which is always hard. And as you get older, your metabolism slows down, so you don't look like you used to look like when you were young, and it just you guys know. I don't have to explain. It's hard, but I miss the summertime. The summertime coming up. It's like I try to explain it to my kids, and they're like, "Oh, Dad, you're old," and I'm like, "Guys, you don't understand. I walk outside my house right now, and there's no kids. There's no kids riding bikes, and I live in a suburban neighborhood. You know what I mean? I don't live near a highway or nothing like that. and there's like no kids outside. There's no kids playing. Matter of fact, I barely hear kids. My next door neighbor's on my on my right over here. They have some kids, and and they're little ones, and it's nice to see them outside playing with their dolls. I believe they have a daughter, maybe two daughters, and I think one boy. They're playing with their dolls and stuff like that. It's like, but I remember just being as a kid, like growing up and riding my bike, and like you didn't have a cell phone. How you knew where your friends were two ways. You'd call everybody's house until you got them on the phone to find out where they were, or you went to your friends' houses and wherever their bikes were, and back then, we were allowed to stay out till the street lights were on. And the summer always meant staying out later because it got darker later. You know what I mean? So like in the fall, what do they say? Spring ahead, fall back, or something. So when the fall came, it always got darker earlier, so you couldn't stay out as late. But in the summertime, 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's still pretty kind of late out. Stretching it because the sun's just settling. Come on, Mom, the sun's still out technically. Let me stay out another half hour, or let me just sit outside in front of the house and play catch with my friends. My mom, I was notorious for asking that. I lived at a house, 128 Dewey Avenue. I'll drive by it once in a while. It was my mom's favorite house. It was probably my favorite house that I ever lived in. It was in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and it was about 10 minutes away from Hasbro, the toy factory, the toy company. It's so cool because on Newport Ave is the Hasbro building, where I guess where they come up with all the ideas of all the toys. But the actual factory is 20 minutes away from me, and it's so cool because I'll still drive by it and I'll see the factories and the buildings and stuff. And it's just to know that like some of my favorite toys of all time came from that building. Visionaries and humanoids and stuff like that. It's just really cool. But yeah, I remember. The summertime, just like my mom, I'd be like, Mom, the sun's still out. She'd be like, well, you can sit outside in front of the house as long as your friends are out there. You can play catch. And I had a big group of friends that I would play with when I was young. Still remember all their names. Matter of fact, I'm still technically friends with them, but hang out like we used to. Unfortunately, they all have kids. They're married. You know how life is, man. But my best friend, Jay DeMaz, I still talk to him to this day. Michael and John Antoon, they're twin brothers. They're redheads, and my mother used to call them sorry, Mike and John, if you're watching this, the radioactive carrots. I love those kids to death, man. Randy and Jason Tellier, Robbie Charette, Mario Auclair, my very first real girlfriend, Tara Robidoux, Robbie Charette, Veronica, Valerie Charette, my wrestling family, the Vanovers, John, Chris, and Summer. They were the Vanovers. Man, I used to live at their house from like the summer of like 94 to like 96. That's where I would be sleeping over, or maybe like 93 to like 96. Watching SummerSlam, like that was my wrestling family. We got up every day and just watched wrestling and talked wrestling, and everything was wrestling. Me and John, and Summer too. Summer was like my sister, but she had a big crush on me. And they moved to Tennessee, which was a wrestling town, which is funny. I hope they're doing good. And haven't spoken to John in a long time. But me and John, man, we couldn't wait for SummerSlam. That was one of our favorite events, and Survivor Series. When the teams strive to stay alive, that was the theme for Survivor Series, which came out in November. But SummerSlam was such a big wrestling event, because it was most of the time it was in August. It was kind of like towards the end of the summer, which kind of sucked, but you knew. But SummerSlam was just such a big event. Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and all those great wrestlers, from the 90s and the 80s and the 90s, and Macho Man and all that stuff. We'd sit, we were so young. We'd watch, we'd find out who's on the wrestling card, and then we'd write down who on like a piece of paper who we thought was gonna win, or we'd set up like the matches, or we'd set up the matches with our wrestling toys, with our wrestling figures, and like as the match was going on, we'd wrestle with our figures too. Yeah, we did that shit, man. Just great times, man. Just great times. I wish I wish kids nowadays, everything's all so electronics based and social media driven, and you know, which is great because it gives me a platform where I can talk to you guys like this. But like, I would still give it up any day of the week to go back to, just go back to the way it used to be. You know, and we had our video games. You know, I remember, Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and the Sega Genesis. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Remember that commercial, guys? Dude, that fucking commercial was so cool, man. Yeah, and what was funny too is I always had a group of friends over here that would play Nintendo and Super Nintendo. Like they were the Nintendo friends. You know, within our group. You know, we had a group of, I don't know, 12, 13 of us, maybe 14. Sometimes, a new kid would move in. Like I remember in the summer of 94 or 93, Tara moved in with her sister, and then Mario Eau Claire up the street moved in on my street, and they became part of our group. But I had certain friends in our group were certain systems. So like Mike and John Antunes and Summer Vanover and Chris Vanover, they were my Super Nintendo and Nintendo friends. So I used to play Super Mario Bros. With them, and Killer Instinct. They were those friends. And then all of a sudden, like Mario Eau Claire and Robbie Charette and that crowd of friends was the Sega Genesis crowd. And we would play Sonic 2 or Mutant League Football or Mutant League Hockey. God, those games were so cool. And we thought the graphics were just fucking amazing. We thought the graphics was just amazing, you know what I mean, compared to the systems. I'm watching my sons play WWE 2K23, and you look like you're watching a live event on TV. Just insane. But yeah, man, you know what I mean? And I remember going upstairs at Mario's house and always playing like Sonic 2. And it was the cool thing about Sonic 2 is, one person controls Sonic and the other person controls Tails. So, and if Tails died, Tails, if Sonic died, the stage would end, or unless you got to a saving point. But with Sonic, you could die, and the game will still keep going on. You would just pop up as long as Sonic was still alive. So, I wasn't the greatest Sega Genesis player because I was more used to the Nintendo controllers because they were a little bit smaller. So Mario would always use. It's funny, Mario playing Genesis. I didn't even think about that right now. My friend Mario playing Sega, playing Sonic. That's funny, because Mario was the big guy for Nintendo. Ha ha, Mike. But anyways, Mario would use. Mario would play use Sonic, and I use Tails, and we get Dr. Wily or whoever Egghead or whatever they call him, and if his health was low or something, I would try to do all the work, and just great memories, man. Staying up and beating Sonic 2, and then Sonic 3 came out, Sonic and Knuckles, and that was like, I remember just that game was like the one that everyone, at least growing up for me, that was the one that we couldn't wait for, because when Sonic 2 came out, it was really cool, but when Sonic 3 came out, everyone was like, oh my, shit, Sonic 3's coming, and dude, they used to come in the shell, the shell cases, and the games were like, $40. And we used to go to Toys, KB Toys, which was right around the corner from our house in the plaza. We used to go over there and to buy the games, or we go next door to Nap Video, KNAPP Video. This big guy owned the place, and he'd let us. We became friends with him, and he'd buy all the games. Because it was like a mom and pop's rental store, like movie rental store, and we'd play the video games on his giant screen TV. Dude, his TV was so big, and he was like a big kid. He was like like what I am now, but he was at his age. You know what I mean? Like back then. And I remember the big game for him is like, first of all, he let us if we rented like a movie, he let us get a movie for free, or if we rented a video game, he let us like rent another video game for free. He was just a cool dude, man. But I remember we went in one day and he's like, guys, I just got the new Killer Instinct game. And Killer Instinct was awesome in the arcade because, see, back in the day, games just didn't go right to consoles. You had to go to an actual arcade. And DJ's Arcade, the Lincoln Mall Dream Machine, those were the big arcades down here. The Tilt, those are the big arcades down here in Rhode Island. So, you know, we'd go when we play those games in the arcade, and eventually they'd come to a console, you know. And the big one, I remember the two big ones for us. Like I said, guys, this video is just me talking in general, just nostalgic talk. So I appreciate anyone this video is almost a half hour long. I appreciate everyone that's listening so far. Was Mortal Kombat in '92 that came out. I remember the first time I ever played that game. Me and my stepfather went. We were on Middle Spring Ave. There was a pizza place. We went and ordered pizza from at my dad's mom's house, which was my step grandma or whatever. Because my dad passed away in '85. My mom got remarried. And I was like, Joe, you know, you got any quarters on you? I want to play that game in the corner, because it was just, you could hear the wah 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 wah. You could hear Liu Kang making the noises. Dude, I'll never forget this. And he gave me like 50 cents or 75 cents. It was only a quarter to play. And the first guy I ever used was Scorpion, just because he looked cool. Didn't know how to do any of the moves, and I won just by randomly hitting kick, punch. I knew no combos, and I think I made it to the third or fourth stage, and where it was the pit, and that's when Liu Kang was on there, and he ended up beating me up and knocking me off and hit me into the pit, and I was like, oh my god, this game's awesome. This game has blood and it's gruesome. And while we were waiting for the pizza to get, he ordered the pizza while we were waiting for it to get ready for us. I was just playing that game. I was just awed by it, just amazed by it, and I had to play it wherever arcade I went to. People would be lined up playing that game. And it was crazy because I don't know how long the game was out for, but I remember in '92 when I went to USA Skates or Bobby's Rollaway, people would be lined up playing these games, and they knew the combos, they knew the finishing moves. I remember the first time I ever seen Scorpion's fatality. I was like, what the hell is that? He just burnt somebody, or Sub-Zero ripping the head, grabbing the guy by the head and tearing his head off, or Kano with the heart punch. How do these kids even know these things? It was just amazing. And then all of a sudden, when it came to Nintendo, the big hype. If you guys remember the commercial back in the day, Mortal Kombat, it's a kid in the street and he's just yelling Mortal, and then more kids just keep yelling it, and then Mortal Kombat, and oh man, my mother got it for me for Christmas that year, and I didn't care what I got for Christmas that year, I needed that game, and I just upstairs just playing it galore, and then finding out reptiles in the game, if you get flawless victories, and then you get a flawless victory on the pit, a double flawless victory, and then do your fatality. You get to fight Reptile in the pit, which was holy, he's the green one out of all of them, because you have Sub-Zero who's blue and Scorpion who's yellow. Just fucking shit that as a 12, 13-year-old just blew your mind. And then when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, whoo, that was nuts. But the other game was Sonic. We were waiting for Sonic 3 to come out. And Sonic wasn't a game that I ever remember playing in the arcade, but it was just a big giant game that we couldn't wait to play. And just great memories, man. And it's my kids, they'll never understand what that's like. They'll never understand that excitement, the anticipation, the excitement for the anticipation of that. My best friend Jay, he's big into basketball. Love Jay. This kid was one of the biggest Michael Jordan fans I've ever known. And he actually owns a Michael Jordan card. I'm not gonna say how you got it, Jay, but you have that card, and I know how you got that rookie card. But anyways, we used to sit down and play NBA Jam, and just go to the arcade and play that, or we'd sit down at his grandmother's house on Rice Avenue, and I get him, oh man, we'd play NBA Live 94, NBA Live 95 for hours. That was the year where I think 95 was the year that Rasheed Wallace, Kevin Garnett, Joe Smith, remember that draft, Jay? Damian Stoudemire. Man, that was such a big draft for NBA players that, yeah. Christian Laettner. Jay got me into basketball. Jay is the reason I got into basketball. And that year, I remember we cleaned his grandmother's house. His grandmother on his dad's side. We used to clean her house, and she used to bring us to Apex. It was a store, and every time we cleaned her house, she'd get us jerseys. That was the reward we got. And Jay got Joe Smith from the Golden State Warriors, and I got Rasheed Wallace. And we'd go in the backyard, and we thought we were Rasheed Wallace and Joe Smith. We'd play one-on-one, or we'd have slam dunk contests. I miss it. I miss it so much, man. I miss it. I miss it so much. Because as you get older, like those days, they're not here no more. You know, they're not around no more. I miss it. I miss it, man. I can imagine what you guys probably have for memories. I'd love to hear what you guys have. You know, tell me something about your summer, what you did in your summers, or maybe something that you watched in the '80s and the '90s that you knew it was summertime. You know. But hey guys, this video is almost 35 minutes long. I appreciate anyone that sat and listened to the whole video the whole time. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys. But once again, hope everyone all those mothers had a happy Mother's Day. And to my next video, remember guys, God first and family, and guys, don't ever let that child inside go. Don't ever let it go. God bless, guys. Peace, man. Take care.